We have to move on because at Fremantle, the domino effect, Shai Bolton comes in. How does that change things, Kingy?
Well, Shai, if he stays at Richmond, he gets tagged every week. And they're strategically looking at what he does post centre bounce and all those sorts of things. He goes over there, you've got Hayden Young, Caleb Sarong, Brayshaw, these guys in the middle that take all the heat and all the attention, and he's going to run around unopposed. I mean, what's he going to be able to do under that system in the forward half of the ground? I love this, and I think we are assessing him. Look at him there, he's on Hardwick. We're one of the best small defenders in the competition. Just look at the matchups against this guy week in, week out, tagged there by the Saints. So I love this. And I think that he's got the capability of having that 35, 40 goal, average 25 touch type season.
Yeah, I totally agree with this one. I mean, he's clearly an A-grade player. You look at what they add to that particular side, he will be an absolute jet centre forward for them and just allow them to do more things in the middle of the ground and ask more questions of the opposition, which is a nightmare.
Definitely turns a needle, doesn't he? He turns a needle there for sure.
My point is if you can have one more than the opposition can handle. So we looked at Brisbane's midfield in the grand final and Ashcroft was just one more that they can handle. Worried about McCluggage, worried about Neil, and then the extra one goes to town on you. So if it's the Bolton or if it's a Stringer, whoever it is, it's breaking point, I think, with the domino effect.
It could be, as you say, someone who moves the needle for Fremantle. At Richmond, certainly there are some big deals in progress. You mentioned Shai Bolton as one. The other one is Daniel Rioli. And I think where the Tigers are potentially happy to let Bolton go, and that might be for picks 10 and 18, maybe not 10 and 11, I think they'd be much cheaper to keep Daniel Rioli. We saw his character off field and the leadership that he showed for the Tigers. I think if he did stay at Punt Road, Richmond would be happy, and that is why they have to press so hard with Gold Coast in a deal. A lot of people are saying, geez, pick 6 too much in 23. Well, I think that secondary pick would then be an offer that Richmond is too good to refuse. So maybe 6, and if it's not 23, maybe 29. But what we're understanding that Fremantle is doing at the moment, they've got picks 10, 11 and 18. They could trade out 11, right? So Fremantle, we know they're interested in Chad Warner at Sydney for next year. So they get 11 and they trade that into next year's draft as a future pick. That leaves them with 10 and 18. So then they go to Richmond, Fremantle that is, and say, well, these are our picks that are left for Shai Bolton, and 10 and 18 is probably fair enough, isn't it?
Smart move if they can do that. So.
And that way, with 11, trading it into the future round, that gives them a crack at Chad Warner. You say that Shai Bolton is going to make a difference for Fremantle. Yeah. If they were able to get Chad Warner next year, then that would be...
That's a double domino, isn't it?
Real lightning bolt.
Should win 5 in a row, Jay. Should win 5 in a row.
But you're right, the conversation around Rioli is deeper than him as a player and deeper than the draft picks that they can get in, because you're losing those other players in and around him. And I was listening to the show last night, and yes, it's going to be tough for Adam Uze, but give me this type of scenario with any of the bottom teams when you've got an influx of players, you've got the ability to get players out, and you've got just a whole heap of first-round draft picks potentially ready to go. I think they're in a brilliant position to bounce back really quickly to the typical norm.
The latest news too at the Tigers, we're hearing reports that Noah Balta has signed a whopping 7-year deal to stay at Richmond. Wow. He was going to be a free agent. He is locked into the rebuild at Punt Road along with Nathan Broad. But what about Tom Lynch? He's been discussed. I mean, can you be in a situation where you lose too many, Kingy? North Melbourne a couple of years ago, they jettisoned 16 players and they're still coming back from it. Yeah. So how many can you cut? Where is the balance, the line?
The difference is you're getting something quality back for them. So you're talking about Baker and Graham and Bolton, Rioli. I would add Lynch to that discussion. If a Sydney Swans or a Melbourne were interested in giving something of
what
quality,
would you need, second round?
Well, pretty high second round. Yeah. I mean, if you got something around between, say, 15 to 22, would you look at that?
Tom Lynch.
I mean, if you're going to get rid of him, Geordie, what's the point of being half pregnant?
No,
Either
I
go
agree.
one way or the other.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think sides sit in that, let's call it 8 to 13 for far too long, and then they decide to cut. So, as I said, I think Richmond are in a fantastic position to really go after the draft and really go after the next 5 years, and maybe Lynch is in that. I mean, if you can get a 15 to 25 for Tom Lynch, absolutely.
But don't you culturally need some older bulls in the paddock? Otherwise, the younger crew, I mean, where are they listening? Where are they learning from, if you know what I mean? Like, if you've got Graham, Baker, Rioli and Bolton out the door...
Yeah, Melbourne had that problem a few years ago, didn't they? Not enough senior guys around.
Taranto and Hopper, they're looking... As the losses mount next year, they're looking around going, why am I here for? Isn't Tom Lynch someone who's just crucial culturally? And you guys have lived that.
You're on the clock, though, with the Tasmanian team coming in.
They got 15 picks. Richmond, how many picks do they want?
16.
Why not get more?
Are you worried about his
Why
body,
not?
though, Kingy? Are you worried about Tom Lynch?
Well, make him someone else's problem. That's my point.
There you go.
Make him someone
No, but
else's
if you're
problem.
a Sydney or a team like that, or a Melbourne...
Yeah, but they've got to take it. I mean, you look at Sydney. Where did they run the ground in the grand final? What have they learnt about that forward half? The big
work.
three in the forward half didn't work. They didn't even fire at all. So I think John Long might be saying, OK, maybe we have to do something. Maybe they have to take a risk. If Warner is to leave, well, next year's the year. So they'd be thinking, gee, is this our last real tilt with this midfield, with this group? Maybe it's worth it.
I'd be going after an experienced player that's either recently retired or about to be retired. So Lynch out, pick 15, pick 20, whatever it might be. Experience from a really good culture. Luke Parker would be the ideal player that I would really go after. Obviously can't do that, but yeah, if you get something for Lynch, get more experience in from somewhere else that gives you the same culture, the same experiences.
Seb Ross potentially from St Kilda has been